There's a moment right now when the storm is raging and you can feel it deep inside, when your soul feels like it's on fire, when every fiber of your being, every nerve ending, wants to scream, wants to shout, and longs to let the world truly feel your pain. But I need you to know this truth. Sometimes the strongest, the most courageous thing you can possibly do is stay silent. Before we dive into the immense power of this choice, if this message resonates with the fire inside you, hit that like button and subscribe to join a community dedicated to mastering internal power. Understand that silence doesn't mean weakness, it doesn't mean surrender. Silence means you've risen above the chaos, that you have personally mastered the storm within, and you have deliberately chosen peace over noise. You see, sometimes words just aren't enough. Our first crucial principle: 1. Be silent when your words can hurt. Have you felt that moment? That terrifying point where anger fills your chest like consuming flames and disappointment crashes over you like a ruthless, unforgiving wave? Your deepest, most primal instinct in that second is to lash out, to speak words sharp enough to cut because you're hurting. You want that pain shared. But listen closely. The truth is, once those toxic words leave your mouth, once they escape the cage of your teeth, there is absolutely no undoing them. They linger in the air like a toxic storm, poisoning everything and everyone around them. The damage is done, and it's done because in that heated moment, you chose to release your pain instead of taking the time to understand it. You chose to wound instead of choosing to heal. But silence in that moment, when the temptation to explode is overwhelming, is not cowardice. It is power. It is self-mastery. It is ultimate control over the fire raging inside you. Choosing silence when your words could harm is the ultimate test of your character. It is the defining moment where you decide whether you will be someone who lifts others up or someone who tears them down. The easy route is always to give in to rage, to simply let your raw emotions lead the way. But the higher path, the path of the true warrior, demands strength. It demands maturity. It requires you to hold back that burning urge to speak and instead breathe through the pain. You must pause, you must step back, and you must honestly ask yourself, will what I'm about to say bring light or bring darkness? It is so easy to say things you don't truly mean. It is terrifyingly easy to weaponize your voice, but real strength lies in knowing exactly when to stay quiet. There is profound wisdom in that restraint. Think of your words as seeds. Whatever you plant in a conversation will grow. If you plant bitterness, cruelty, and rage in a moment of heat, that is precisely what will bloom in others. But if you choose silence in those moments of fury, you plant the profound seeds of grace, patience, and understanding. And those seeds, my friend, grow into respect, trust, and love. Silence isn't merely the absence of words, it is the powerful presence of discipline. It is the art of holding back words that could cut deeper than any blade. And in that restraint, there is undeniable power. Power over yourself, power over the immediate moment, and power over the ultimate outcome. In today's world, everyone wants to be heard. Voices rise and clash like waves relentlessly hitting the shore. But I assure you, not every battle is won by speaking. Some of the most powerful victories you will ever achieve come from choosing not to say anything at all, especially when your words would only add pain. There is a rare courage in holding back when every single part of you wants to speak. Because when you choose silence over anger, you effectively break the toxic cycle. You choose peace over chaos. You choose to protect rather than destroy. And that choice, that fundamental choice, it defines you. Silence in those moments is a profound gift you give to yourself and to others. It is truly an act of mercy. Think about this. There is something far more valuable than being right or definitively winning an argument. It is being kind, even when your emotions aggressively beg you to be cruel. It's letting your silence speak volumes of compassion instead of letting your words speak of rage. When you make that choice, you become something rare, someone who truly understands true power. Yes, it is hard. It takes immense courage to bite your tongue when you're boiling inside. It takes wisdom to recognize that your words hold the power to either heal or destroy. Ask yourself, what do you want your words to do? Because what you release into the world comes back to you. Kindness returns as love, cruelty returns as regret, and silence, when chosen wisely, returns as peace. You've got to learn to step away, to breathe, to calm your spirit before you dare to speak, because the harshest words are always spoken in moments of anger, and once that storm passes, all you are left with is the wreckage, broken trust, fractured relationships, and pain you can never undo. There is a strength, a quiet heroism in walking away when your words would only pour gasoline on the fire. That strength separates the wise from the foolish. Choosing silence when your words could hurt isn't weakness or submission, it's awareness. It's knowing that your voice isn't a weapon to be flung in fury, but a sacred gift to be offered with love. And if you absolutely cannot speak from a place of love or truth, then maybe, just maybe, it is better not to speak at all. What you say in rage may haunt you. It may cut wounds so deep they never fully heal. But what you choose not to say, that can be a reflection of your highest self. Silence can be a moment of clarity, a dedicated space to gather your thoughts, a critical pause that saves a relationship. When you respond with wisdom, rather than simply react from pain, you don't just survive the storm, you guide others through it. Your words become meaningful, rare, and powerful because people know they're not fueled by rage, but by understanding. So, the next time you feel the fire rise within you, please remember this. You have a choice, to speak or to be silent, to wound or to heal. And when your words can hurt, let your silence be your strength. Let it be your wisdom. Let it be your gift to yourself and to those around you. Because holding back words that can destroy is the undeniable proof that you're in control, not your emotions. That, my friend, is real power. If this has helped you realize the power you hold in your quiet moments, please comment below with the word silence and share this video with someone who needs this perspective. Let's start a revolution of strength through stillness. If you're finding strength in these principles of stillness, please hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson on true power. 2. Be silent when you don't have all the facts. Now let's talk about the insidious trap of incomplete information. Sometimes, the urge to speak, to assert your perspective is overwhelming. You hear a story, catch a snippet of conversation, you feel a rise of emotion, and suddenly you're ready to react, ready to judge, ready to quickly voice your opinion. But here's the critical lesson you must internalize. Words spoken from ignorance are like arrows fired blindly into the dark. They will inevitably miss the truth, they will strike the wrong people, and they will create damage that never, ever needed to happen. When you speak without the full story, you're not just expressing yourself, you're assuming, you're accusing, and you're risking the fragile trust that others have placed in you. Think about that risk. There's a dangerous power in a half-truth. It possesses the potential to destroy reputations, end lifelong friendships, and shatter lives. And most of the time, this devastation happens because someone, maybe even you, decided their version of the truth was good enough. They didn't wait for the solid facts. They didn't seek clarity. They just spoke. But silence in those moments, that's not weakness, that is wisdom. It is maturity. It is the profound humility to say, I don't know enough to speak yet. We live in a world that aggressively celebrates fast takes, snap judgments, and loud opinions. But just because you can say something doesn't mean you should, especially when what you know is incomplete, and most especially when your words might cause harm. Choosing silence here isn't about hiding, it's about protecting your integrity. It's about valuing truth far more than fleeting attention. It's about waiting for the full, complete picture before you allow yourself to react. Imagine this scenario. You hear a rumor about someone you love. It hits you hard. You feel betrayed, the anger flares, and you're immediately ready to confront them. But pause. What if what you heard is only part of the story? What if the real truth paints a vastly different picture? In that event, would your spoken words heal, or would they destroy something you can never rebuild? In those moments, when your heart is racing and your mind is tangled with toxic assumptions, silence becomes your most powerful ally. It gives you time to listen, time to ask the right questions, time to truly understand. And understanding is everything. Understanding is what miraculously turns conflict into conversation, confusion into clarity, and deep hurt into lasting healing. But you simply cannot get there if your mouth is moving faster than your mind. If this part hit home, take a moment and share this video with a friend who might rush to judgment. Let's spread the wisdom of waiting. 3. Be silent when you're angry and emotional. Anger is not a gentle feeling. It is a storm that brews deep within the soul. It swirls, it rages, it makes your heartbeat aggressively pound against your chest. And when that storm reaches its terrifying peak, the easiest, most tempting thing to do is to unleash it, to let your words fly like knives, cutting through anything and anyone in their path. But you must hold on to this truth. The words you speak in anger are the words you are most likely to regret. They tear down bridges you may have spent years building. They leave behind scars that are deeper than any physical wound. And once they're spoken, there is no way, absolutely no way to erase them. Anger distorts your vision. It makes you tragically see betrayal where there is none. It makes you hear disrespect in words that were meant to be genuinely kind. It transforms simple misunderstanding into devastating conflict, and conflict into complete chaos. When you speak from that place of rage, you're not speaking from truth. You're speaking from deep pain, from a place that seeks to hurt more than it seeks to heal. But silence gives you a crucial moment to pause, to breathe, to regain your center before your emotions drag you down a path you'll later wish you hadn't taken. There is profound strength in choosing silence when you're angry, a strength most people will never understand because they mistake loudness for power. But real power, true power, is the ability to control yourself when everything inside you is screaming to erupt. It's knowing that the words you unleash in anger can become weapons you can never retract. It's the ability to hold your peace until you're calm enough to speak with intention. Choosing silence in anger isn't about suppressing how you feel. It's about giving yourself the essential time to process those emotions, to understand why you're hurting, why you're disappointed, why you feel the urge to lash out. And in that deliberate silence, you find clarity, you find control. You gain the ultimate power to respond instead of merely reacting, because when you react, you throw fuel on the fire. But when you respond, you begin to put it out. You can't undo words spoken in anger. You can apologize, you can try to explain, you can even try to make things right. But those toxic words will linger. They will echo in the minds of those you've hurt. The sad truth is, people will forget your kindness 100 times over, but they'll remember your cruelty forever. That is the cost of letting anger speak for you. That is the price of not holding your silence when it mattered most. When you choose silence in your moments of rage, you're not giving up your voice, you're refining it. You're ensuring that when you finally do speak, your words have weight, they have undeniable meaning. Because when you speak from a place of calm, people listen. They hear the truth in your tone, not the poison in your fury. They respect your words because they know you chose them carefully, thoughtfully, and with a clear purpose. Silence gives you back your power. It pulls you away from the heat of the moment and gives you the necessary space to return with clarity. It allows you to choose healing over harm, connection over conflict, and that, my friend, takes tremendous courage. It takes discipline. It takes a level of character that most never reach because they let their emotions rule their voice. But you have the power to be better than that, to be stronger than that. When you feel your emotions rising, when that internal fire burns in your chest, take a step back, take a deep breath, and choose silence. Choose it not because you're weak, not because you're scared, but because you deeply understand the power of your words, and you refuse to use that power recklessly. You refuse to be someone who speaks from rage rather than understanding. And when the storm within you finally settles, when the fire dims, then you can speak. Then you can share your truth in a way that heals rather than harms, in a way that builds bridges rather than burns them. That is the mark of true strength, the kind of strength that transforms chaos into peace. So, the next time that storm starts to brew inside you, remember this: silence is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is your shield against saying things you can never take back. It is your clear path to understanding, to growth, to healing. Choose silence when you're angry because your voice deserves to be heard with clarity, not clouded by rage. 4. Be silent when someone else is speaking. Listening. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Yet in a world overflowing with constant noise and fiercely competing voices, true listening has become a rare and precious commodity. That's because real listening requires more than just hearing words. It demands patience, it demands humility, and most importantly, it demands the strength to completely silence your own voice long enough to truly understand someone else's perspective. Too often, we listen not to understand, but simply to reply. We listen with our mouths half open, just waiting impatiently for the right moment to interject, to make a point, to defend ourselves, to prove we're right. But when we do that, we're not listening at all. We're just waiting for our turn to talk. When someone else is speaking, your silence is the ultimate sign of respect. It powerfully says, "I value your thoughts. I value your experience. I value you." And in a world so desperate to be heard, that kind of respect is powerful. It's healing. It's truly rare. We've been wrongly taught that the loudest voice wins, that whoever talks the most holds the power. But the truth is, real power lies in the one who listens with purpose, the one who chooses silence so they can understand, not just react. When you stay silent while someone is speaking, you give them an invaluable gift, the space to be seen, to be heard, to be understood. And that, fundamentally, is all anyone really wants. To be understood, to feel like their voice matters, to know they're not just speaking into a void. And when you give someone that space, when you offer your silence as a genuine form of respect, you build something stronger than mere words. You build connection. You build trust. We must recognize that many people are intensely afraid of silence. We rush to fill the gaps, to cover the quiet, to assert ourselves before we've even grasped what's being said. In doing so, we miss the entire point. We miss the chance to really connect. Because when you talk over someone, you send a devastating message. Your voice matters more than theirs, and that message can cut deeper than any insult. Being silent while someone else speaks doesn't mean you agree with everything they say, and it certainly doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to wait, and wise enough to know that you can't understand someone if you're too busy preparing your own response. It means you respect them enough to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because words are more than sounds. They're pieces of the soul, fragments of truth. And if you're too busy trying to be heard, you'll never truly hear them. I've personally seen people lose friendships, relationships, and even incredible life-changing opportunities because they couldn't be silent while someone else was speaking. They were so focused on defending their view that they tragically missed the essential message being offered to them. And once that moment is gone, it's hard to get it back. The trust is broken, the connection lost. There is strength in restraint. Strength in being quiet long enough to truly understand what someone is trying to say. And when you master that, you become someone who doesn't just hear people, you understand them. You see their pain, their joy, their struggle. You make them feel valued. And when you finally do speak, your words carry immense weight. They are met with respect because you earned the right to be heard by showing the humility to listen. Listening with intention means hearing not just the surface words, but the feelings beneath them, the fears, the hopes, the truth hiding behind every sentence. If you're constantly interrupting, constantly jumping in to make your point, you'll never find that truth. You'll never truly connect. But when you choose to be silent, when you honor someone else's voice, you give them the courage to share their soul. And that is a gift no amount of talking can replace. So the next time you're in a conversation, I challenge you. Ask yourself, are you truly listening, or are you just waiting for your turn to speak? Are you giving someone the respect of your silence? Or are you drowning their truth beneath the noise of your own opinions? Because when you choose to be silent while someone else is speaking, you're choosing to be better. You're choosing to understand instead of judge. You're choosing connection over conflict. And that is where real communication happens. That is where true growth begins. That is where healing takes root. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. And when you finally do speak, your words will carry the strength of someone who has truly listened, someone who understands, someone who values the voices of others as much as their own. If this chapter transformed how you think about communication, subscribe now and let me know in the comments below. What's the hardest time for you to stay silent? If the idea of guarding your integrity speaks to your deepest values, please like this video and turn on notifications so we can continue building a life of purpose together. 5. Be silent when it's not your story to tell. There is truly something sacred about a person's story. It is delicate, it is precious, and it is a truth that belongs to them and them alone. When someone trusts you with their story, they aren't just sharing words. They're offering you pieces of their very soul, their struggles, their pain, their dreams, their scars. It's their truth laid bare before you, fragile and deeply vulnerable. And that trust, my friend, is a monumental gift, one that must never ever be taken lightly. But too often we forget this sacred duty. We hear someone's story, and instead of honoring the trust given to us, we tragically turn it into gossip, into temporary entertainment, into something to be shared rather than something to be cherished. And once those private words leave our lips, we can't take them back. We can't undo the betrayal of speaking something that was never truly ours to speak. When someone shares their story with you, they're giving you a part of themselves, often a part still healing, still trembling from old wounds. And when you speak that story without their explicit permission, you're not just breaking their trust, you're breaking their heart. You're taking something sacred and making it cheap. You're stripping them of something that once belonged only to them. And the damage doesn't stop there, because when you tell a story that's not yours, you inevitably distort it. You twist it through your own lens, your own personal perspective, your own bias, and your incomplete understanding. What others hear isn't the pure truth. It's a tainted version filtered through your assumptions. And that isn't fair. That isn't right, because their story deserves to be told the way they want it told. By them, not by you. You might sincerely think you're helping. You might believe you're doing them a favor by sharing what you know. But the truth is, it's not your place. It's not your responsibility. It's not your right. Your true responsibility, when entrusted with someone else's story, is to protect it, to hold it close, to honor the faith they placed in you by keeping their truth safe, even when you're heavily tempted to speak. Let me tell you something vital. When you betray that trust, when you speak someone's truth without consent, you're not only hurting them, you're hurting yourself. Because once you break that trust, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. The damage is done, the connection is lost, and all of it simply because you couldn't stay silent when it mattered most. Silence in this case isn't about suppressing your voice, it's about elevating someone else's. It's about understanding the profound power of your words and the immense responsibility that comes with it. It's about respecting what isn't yours to share. Because when you choose silence in those moments, you're choosing integrity, you're choosing honor, and that choice defines the kind of person you are. Will you be the one who guards someone's truth like a priceless treasure? Or will you be the one who tosses it away for a quick laugh, for a fleeting moment of feeling important? That's a decision only you can make. But once you've made it, there's no going back. People's stories are their own, not yours, not mine. And when you respect that, you're doing more than just showing kindness. You're showing empathy. You're showing that you understand what it means to be vulnerable and what it means to be trusted. And that understanding, that respect, will earn you something far more valuable than the thrill of gossip. It will earn you real connection, real loyalty. Because those who protect the stories of others, those who know how to listen and hold space, are the ones who are truly trusted. They build relationships that last, relationships built not just on words, but on integrity, on understanding, on honor. So the next time you're tempted to share someone else's story, remember this. If it's not your story to tell, it's not your place to speak. Choose silence. Choose respect. Be the kind of person who guards the stories of others with the same care you would want them to guard yours. Because that is true strength, that is true kindness. 6. Be silent when your words will only fuel gossip. There's a darkness that lives in idle talk, a poison that spreads through careless whispers and passing comments thrown around like they hold no weight. Gossip. It's the easiest sin to commit. It feels harmless, just a few words over coffee, a small story shared behind someone's back. But those words, they can leave scars that never heal. Gossip is like fire. It starts small, just a spark, but once it catches, it spreads faster than you can control it. It consumes reputations. It destroys relationships. It leaves devastation in its wake. And the worst part is, the one who started it rarely sees the full damage they've done. Because by the time the truth comes out, the lies have already rooted themselves deep in the minds of others. What was once someone's name, someone's honor, is now ash. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply nothing. Sometimes refusing to speak is an act of mercy, an act of strength. Because the truth is, there are conversations you should never be a part of, words you should never echo. And if you choose to speak when your words only add fuel to a fire that should never have been lit, then you become part of the destruction. But silence is a deliberate stand. When you choose silence in the face of gossip, you rise above it. You choose integrity over indulgence, kindness over cruelty, and that choice, it isn't easy. Everyone wants to be included. Everyone wants to feel like they're in on the secret, like they matter. But you must ask yourself, is being included worth being cruel? Is feeling important worth tearing someone else down? You do not have to speak on everything you hear. You don't have to contribute to every conversation, especially not the ones built on assumptions, half-truths, jealousy, or spite. You can choose to walk away. You can choose to keep your words inside, knowing that letting them out would only cause harm. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's compassion. Gossip only thrives when we feed it. It only grows when we give it oxygen. And when you refuse to participate, you do more than stay silent. You take a stand. You stand for decency, for integrity, for the simple but powerful truth that your words should heal, not hurt, that your voice should lift others up, not tear them down. I've seen people destroyed by words. I've seen lives shattered by rumors that were never true. And I've seen the regret in the eyes of those who spoke too quickly, their remorse coming far too late to undo the harm they caused. And from all of that, I've learned something critically important. Just because you can speak doesn't mean you should. Just because you have something to say doesn't mean it needs to be heard. Your words have power. Never forget that. They can be a bomb or a balm, a blade or a bandage. So when you're faced with gossip, choose silence. Choose to use your voice with intention. Choose to be a protector, not a destroyer. Choose the higher road, the one few take, but the one that always leads to peace. There's something noble in refusing to add your voice to the noise, something honorable about keeping your words pure, even when the world around you is drowning in negativity. Because when you choose not to engage in gossip, you're making a powerful statement. You're saying, I will not be part of something that tears others down. I will not be the reason someone else's name is dragged through the mud. And that choice makes all the difference in a world so quick to judge, so eager to speak without thinking. The ones who choose silence when their words would only cause harm are the ones who leave a lasting impact. They are the ones who prove that true strength doesn't come from how loudly you can speak, but from how wisely you can choose not to. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation that feels wrong, remember this. You have the power to walk away. You have the power to keep your words to yourself. And in doing so, you have the power to be better, to be kinder, to be someone who uses their voice to build, not destroy. Because in the end, your silence can be the loudest statement of all. 7. Be silent when your words will make a difference to no one. Have you ever stood at the edge of an argument, your words ready to launch like arrows, your pride demanding to be heard? But deep down, you knew the difficult truth, that no matter what you said, no matter how passionately you tried to speak, it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't heal the wound, it wouldn't bring peace. It would only add more fuel to a fire already burning out of control. Sometimes we don't speak because it will make a difference. We speak because our ego craves validation. We speak to prove a point, to defend our pride, to win an argument that was lost before it even began. But words spoken solely to satisfy our desperate need to be right. They carry no real power, no healing, no light. They are just noise, bitter, empty noise. And when you let that noise consume you, you lose what communication is truly about. There's deep wisdom in recognizing when your words will fall on deaf ears, when your arguments will be met with resistance, not reflection. When the conversation isn't about truth or growth, it's about pure ego and stubbornness. In those moments, the greatest strength you can show is restraint. The deepest wisdom you can express is silence. Because silence, when chosen with intention, is not defeat. It's control. It's peace. It's protecting your finite energy from being wasted on battles that simply can't be won. I've seen people spend years arguing about things that didn't matter, trying to force their truth into the minds of those unwilling to listen, trying to fix what was never theirs to fix. And in the end, all they gained was exhaustion. A hollow victory that left them more broken than before. Why? Because they forgot one of life's most powerful truths. Not every conversation is worth having, not every battle is worth fighting. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. Your words are precious, your energy is sacred. And pouring them into a void where they won't be heard or appreciated is not strength, it's surrendering your peace. When you speak just to be heard, not to be understood, you're not communicating, you're just making noise. And the world already has enough of that. There's real power in choosing silence when you know your words won't make a difference. In that silence, you reclaim your peace. You refuse to give your energy to something that will only drain you. You protect your dignity, your sanity, your heart, because the truth is, not everyone is ready for your truth. Not everyone is capable of seeing what you see, hearing what you hear, feeling what you feel. Trying to force understanding onto someone who refuses it is like shouting into a hurricane. Your words get twisted, scattered, lost. So ask yourself honestly, will my words make a difference? Or am I just speaking for the sake of being heard? And if the answer is no, then choose silence, choose peace, choose the strength to walk away. Because sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is the one you never say. 8. Be silent when someone else is hurting. Pain is its own language, raw, real, and louder than any words could ever be. When someone is hurting, their soul speaks in a way no conversation can fix. And sometimes, the very best thing you can do is simply be there, be present, be silent. Because silence, when offered with genuine compassion, is not absence, it's presence. The kind of presence that says, I see you, I feel your pain, I'm here. Too often we rush to fill the silence. We scramble for words that might ease their suffering. We try to fix what's broken, explain the pain, give it meaning or purpose. But in our desperate attempt to comfort, we sometimes cause more harm, because our words, no matter how well-intentioned, can feel like noise to someone already drowning. There's a sacredness in silence, a healing power in just being still, being kind, being near. Some wounds aren't meant to be healed by words. They need time, they need space. They need the quiet understanding of someone who knows that healing is a journey, not a quick fix. When you try to fill the silence, you risk minimizing their pain. You risk making them feel like their suffering is something that needs to be solved, rather than something that profoundly deserves to be felt. The powerful truth is, sometimes the most valuable thing you can do for someone in pain is let them hurt. Let them feel. Let them sit with their grief in their own time and in their own way. Silence in these moments isn't indifference, it isn't avoidance. It's empathy. It's the willingness to sit in the dark with someone rather than drag them into the light before they're ready. It's resisting the urge to fix, to heal, to say, it's going to be okay, and instead saying with your pure presence, you don't have to go through this alone. I've seen people try to comfort others with endless words when all they really needed was silence, a hand to hold, a presence to lean on. No judgment, no advice, just love. Quiet, strong, unwavering. And I've seen how that kind of silence heals in ways that words never could. Being silent when someone else is hurting is a gift. It gives them space to speak if they choose to. It gives them room to feel, to process, to be without interruption, without pressure. It validates their pain without trying to shrink it. And that is one of the most powerful forms of support you can offer, because there are times when your desire to speak is not about their healing, but about your own discomfort with their pain. And if you truly want to be there for someone who's hurting, then be there, be still, be silent, and let your presence speak louder than words ever could. You have to be willing to set aside your own discomfort. You have to find the strength to sit in silence, to allow them to feel, to let them heal in their own time. Because healing isn't something you can hand to someone. It's not something you can rush with advice or fix with comforting phrases. It's something they have to uncover for themselves. And sometimes the most powerful way you can support them is by saying nothing, by giving them space to feel and reminding them through your presence that even in their darkest hour, they're not alone. So if someone you care about is hurting, remember this. Your words may not be what they need. Your presence, your stillness, your quiet strength, that might be everything. Choosing silence over hollow reassurance isn't weakness. It's grace, it's patience, it's love in one of its most genuine forms. And sometimes that's exactly what they need to begin finding their way back to the light. If you know someone who needs to hear this message about supporting others through silence, please tag them or share this now. 9. Be silent when it's time to hear your own heart. There's a voice within you. It's been whispering your entire life, soft, steady, and honest. It knows your passions, your fears, your deepest longings. It's the voice of your own heart. But far too often, that voice is tragically drowned beneath the noise. The overwhelming noise of the world's expectations, the relentless pressure of daily life, and the constant commentary from people who think they know what's best for you. But there comes a pivotal moment when you must intentionally turn down the volume of everything around you. A moment when you must listen inward to what your heart has been desperately trying to say all along. Because within that stillness lies a wisdom no one else can give you. A truth that is yours alone. And if you never take the time to hear it, you may never fully know who you are or what you're truly meant to do. Others will constantly try to steer you off course. They'll say your dreams are unrealistic, your path too risky, your goals unreachable. And if their voices grow louder than your own, you may end up living a life that doesn't belong to you, a life built on their fears instead of your vision. A life that leaves you feeling unfulfilled, no matter how hard you try to make it feel right. But when you choose to go quiet, when you intentionally tune out the noise and turn your attention inward, that's when clarity comes. That's when your direction reveals itself. That's when you begin to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. And that kind of truth, that kind of peace, is priceless because it's yours, because it's real. Listening to your heart is not simple. It's uncomfortable. It's disruptive. Why? Because it will lead you toward change. It will challenge you to face fears, to walk away from comfort, to take leaps into the unknown. And yes, that's scary, but it's also where transformation begins. Because nothing worth achieving, nothing worth becoming, was ever reached by playing small or staying silent. Your greatest struggles won't be with the world. They'll be with yourself, with your fears, with your doubts, with the part of you that wants to stay safe. But you can overcome those battles if you listen to your own voice, if you trust your inner guidance, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. Because your heart always knows, even when your mind is clouded, even when others try to redirect you, that inner voice remains constant. And silence is the space where that voice gets louder. Silence is where your truth rises, but you have to make room for it. You have to step back from the noise, carve out a quiet place where the world can't reach you, and reconnect with the rhythm of your own soul. People will doubt you, they'll question your path, but that's okay. Their opinions don't define you. What matters most is what you believe, what you feel deep within. That feeling, that inner knowing, is your truth, and it will always be stronger than the noise of doubt around you. So, take the time to be still. Take the time to listen, not to the world, but to yourself. Listen to the voice that reminds you of your purpose, that calls you toward your dreams, that tells you again and again who you truly are. Because that voice is your compass, and if you follow it, it will lead you to the life you were always meant to live. Don't fear the silence. Welcome it. Let it clear the confusion. Let it uncover the truth that's been waiting for you all along. Because once you do, once you truly hear your heart, you become unstoppable. You become who you were always meant to be. As we close this transformative journey, take a profound moment right now, a sacred pause, to reflect on the quiet, unshakable strength that lives deep within you. Silence, you have learned, is not weakness. It is restraint wrapped in courage. It is the deliberate choice to hold your tongue when speaking would cause harm. It is the supreme wisdom to pause when emotions are running dangerously high. It is the unwavering discipline to wait when you don't know the full story. And it is the grace to stay still when someone else desperately needs to speak their truth. Silence is the act of standing firm when the temptation of gossip tries to pull you down. It's the profound awareness of knowing when your voice won't be truly heard, and choosing not to waste your precious energy in a meaningless void. It's the ultimate understanding that not every moment in life deserves your reaction, and not every battle deserves your breath. It is also the boundless compassion to sit with someone who is enveloped in pain without immediately rushing in to fix them, to simply be present, to be steady, to say nothing, because your presence alone says everything that needs to be said. And most importantly, remember this: silence is the sacred space where your own true voice can finally rise, where your deepest purpose is remembered, and where your vital clarity is restored. Mastering silence is not about hiding who you are. It's about honoring what truly matters. It's about choosing precisely when to speak and when not to. It's about knowing deep in your soul that the most impactful, the most powerful words are the ones spoken with care, with clear intention, and with immense love. I leave you now, not with a command, but with a fervent invitation. Embrace the power of silence. Let it be your internal strength. Let it be your ultimate guide. Let it be your shield and your protection. Because sometimes, when the storm is raging, the most powerful, life-changing message you can send to the world is in the words you resolutely choose not to say. This choice, to master your internal fire, is the mark of true strength, transforming chaos into peace. You now possess the tools to navigate the loudest noise and the deepest rage. You have the power to be better, to be kinder, and to build bridges instead of burning them. This is your moment of transformation. If this journey has shifted your perspective, if you feel that quiet power awakening within you, I urge you, subscribe right now to this channel and join our community dedicated to finding strength in stillness. Comment below. Tell me, which of these 9 reasons for silence resonated most deeply with your soul? Share a story about a time you chose silence and it led to peace. Share this video with 2 people you believe deserve to harness this incredible power of restraint and wisdom. Thank you for walking this profound journey with me. Thank you for listening with your heart. May your silence speak louder than the world's noise. May it lead you to peace, to unparalleled purpose, and to a life filled with truth. God bless you. Keep seeking that inner voice and take care. You are unstoppable.